Come on. Put me up on the line. See everybody was below. What? Right, that's fine. Right. Should be alright. Let me just get this sent up. Right, Salak, just give me 1 second, Arkham. Just need to get this broadcast, then we'll begin. It's hot, boy. Right, Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there on the highways and the byways teaching His word in all sincerity and in truth. And the title of this particular live stream is Complete Economic Collapse. Is part of Daniel's 12:1 and Revelations 12:12 in prophecy. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll read those two I'll read those two verses. Man, Esau don't stop. Alright. Right, so this is Daniel's 12:1. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered. So the great salvation and deliverance which is prophesied in the scriptures regarding the Messiah is actually going to occur during that time, which is the last days that we're in now. So there's going to be a time of great tribulation, and it's going to lead into the salvation of the elect of the Lord, man, by the Messiah. Okay, everyone that shall be found written in the book. Okay, but not all Israel is written in the book of life. Only the elect, whose names are recorded from the foundation of the earth, to be saved. But I want to key in on where it says there's going to be a time of trouble. And it says that the trouble is going to be so great, there weren't a time of trouble like it previous. Now, you look at the word trouble. Let me show it to you here on the screen. If we look at the word trouble is Tazarah. which means trouble, distress, affliction, adversity, anguish, tribulation, which means straits, distress, trouble. All right. Now, part of that trouble that's going to occur is through the chaos of complete economic collapse, which is set up, which is ultimately the elites. The Lord has put it in the spirit of the elites to set up that economic bomb, because in their mind, they want to implode this world so that they can build a new world order out of the ashes. But what they don't understand is that the Lord is going to use them to bring tribulation on the face of the earth, to usher in chaos. But in the end of that chaos, they're going to be conquered by the Son of the Heavenly Father, and they're going to be put into slavery anyway. And the kingdom of heaven is going to rise up out of those ashes, you know. But the Lord is using them, because what you got to understand is that this economic position that the world is in at the moment is not an accident. It's not something which was done accidentally. It's all been set up on purpose. And the economy is going to collapse when the elites give the go-ahead for it to collapse. And it's primed and ready, baby. All right? And it's going to be a collapse like there's never been on the face of the planet Earth ever before. It's gonna be some real car crash drama, man. You know, it's likened unto pulling the handbrake in a car going at 200 miles per hour, man. It's gonna start flipping and turning, man. And that's what's gonna happen when they pull the plug on these global economies, man. All right, a car crash. So that's that particular scripture, and I want to get Revelation 12:12, because the martial law, the mark of the beast, all these things are going to happen in the midst of what? A collapsed society. You know, when society collapses, that's what's going to help them to usher in their police state, usher in that mark of the beast, because you're going to have a lot of desperate people looking for a way out. People of all socio-economic stratas, because this economic collapse is going to take out everybody. All right, everybody's going to be brought low. That's going to usher in the end of private property. As is Revelations 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So part of that great wrath that he's going to come down with is he's going to pull the plug on these global economies, man, beginning with America. All right. What I want to do, I want to play a bit of this the Cirrus report, which I really should have put the link in the description box. You can go back and watch this, and you know, the brother Ariella, he put me onto this this channel, man, by V, my man V, V the Gorilla. He used to be known as V the Gorilla Economist, man. He used to come on different shows like Steve Quayle Show, but then he ended up getting his own channel, Rogue Money. So this is where he's situated at now, and he brings out some good information. It's not gospel. Everything he says isn't, you know, the way it's gonna be, but he brings out good information. Now, he was on here with London Paul, and pretty much the whole beginning they were discussing the American economy. They were discussing the American infrastructure, and you know, the situation in what is it, Detroit, Illinois. Is it Illinois? I believe it's Illinois. The situation in Illinois, how their bank pretty much economically, the whole system is through, is finished. And the thing is, you got people out there that they're saying Trump can save this and save that, and all we got to do is let this happen, and there's gonna be a reset, and basically everything is fine, and they speak about it as if the reset is going to be some walk in the park. Oh, a few people will lose their jobs. No. At this point, the only thing that's going to happen is mass death and chaos as a result of this collapse. There's no other there's no soft landing. There's no way to ease the pain economically of what is going to happen once all this fraudulent, debt-ridden system is brought down. And I'm gonna let these guys speak about it, you know, because a lot of people, they don't understand. If they already understood what is before them, what's set up, man, a lot of these people would leave America. They'll find some hole in the ground somewhere in the earth and hide it out. Because this ain't gonna be pretty, baby. This ain't gonna be pretty, and that's why the scripture says it's gonna be a time of tribulation like never seen before. You're gonna have cities upon cities of people who overnight are gonna have nothing. Even what they thought they have, they won't have. So let's play this.
7%. It's just an impossibility. They cannot sustain the business. The free cash flow from its industry.
Yeah, he's also talking. Basically, he uses America in this thing. If you watch it, he uses America as an example, but he says it's not just America. It's pretty much all the Western economies, all of them across the world, which they're all connected. They're to lack of a better word, they're fucked. They're fucked, and they've been hiding it. They've been hiding it because they can, because they want it to come down when they want it to come down. It should really have already come down already, but they got the finger on the trigger. And he speaks about General Electric. General Electric is fucked, and that's just one example. You know, there's many examples, man. Illinois, that's an example of a state, but they ain't the only state. All right, I believe it was Illinois. Don't quote me on that. Watch the video. He'll tell you the exact state that's in dire straits right now.
Businesses are suffering. There's this huge pension black hole, as we said, and its indebtedness. It has debts of about 130 billion. So even if it's able to fund its pension, the deficit, there's no guarantee it's not going to fall behind again, because it needs to earn 7.5% return for its pension assets each year just to pay the debt.
Yeah, that's another thing they mentioned. Pensions. Look, man, there ain't no pensions. That's why they're gonna have to institute the mark of the beast and a system of rationing. And to be honest with you, the majority of you old people, they're gonna just euthanize you. They're gonna kill you off. That's why they've been pushing euthanasia over the last decade or so. They don't really want no fucking old ass people in the New World Order. They're just gonna kill you, man. They're gonna get rid of you. You're gonna be deemed surplus to requirements any damn way. There is no pensions. The whole pension system in the Western world is finished. It's through. So if you're thinking you're looking forward to getting a pension, your 401k or look, man, you don't know what's happening out here.
Debt and maintain it, so it's an impossibility. So here's a huge organisation that is struggling massively already. Never mind. And how do you extrapolate that across all the big corporations in the US? It's another example of the huge problems that the US is experiencing. And yet we keep hearing this repeated mantra that everything's fine, there's not a problem. And then what frustrates me probably more than anything is we have people who in the alternative media who, again, are gathering a lot of interest from people, and this is not just in Facebook term, but everywhere else. And all they're doing is selling this mantra of, you know, we're patriots and we care about America. And they're coming out with ridiculous suggestions as to how the economic situation in the US is going to be resolved when it isn't. And it's detracting a lot of the fact of what we're trying to explain, the reality of what's going on. And unfortunately, for every person who follows, you know, Rogue Money or what I do and elsewhere, there's 10 or 15 who believe these people, this is the reality. And it's just nonsense. There's this idea that this magic pot of money is going to save the US. Well, where's it coming from?
Yeah. That whole thing that Donald Trump ran on, make America great again. How, Sway? You know, how? It was always the only thing they can do with America is downsize. Chop off, just downsize. And when I say downsize, I mean depopulate. You know what I'm saying? Downsize. There is no saving the corporation as it is. You do what you do with any failing business. You go into the business is failing. What assets within the business are worth something? You sell them, everything else goes to the scrap yard. That's it. There's no making America great again. But Trump was set up to give that false hope. And I personally believe you had a lot of Americans who were thinking about leaving America. And then Trump came in and they decided to stay, which is good because the Lord wants you to be caught out there. All right, before I let these guys go on, I want to get a quick scripture that just comes to mind. I love bringing out, man. Because these guys here, they're forecasters, man. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. Yeah, Daniel 12:1. Revelations 12:12. Jeremiah 30:7. Nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Because in them days you ain't gonna have no pleasure. Listen, man. The scripture tells you they shall not drink wine with a song. When this economy collapses, man, and terror, all these terrorist attacks and war breaks out and the perfect storm of shit hits the fan, you ain't gonna be going to the cinema with your woman. You ain't gonna be going to no motherfucking 50 Cent concert with your hands up in the air, shouting out, or some Jay-Z concert, throwing up the diamond, okay? You gonna be shit scared, wondering how the hell you gonna find the next meal or how you gonna survive the next 10 minutes. It's gonna be like in them zombie films. Like if you see somebody today, if you see them a week later, you surprised that they survived and you survived for another week. It's gonna be belly jelly out here. You understand? All right, and a big part of that is the economic collapse. It plays its role in the chaos. All right. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. Okay? In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, because even the overseers of these different states, when they see the chaos, they're going to be trembling. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because there ain't going to be no work. The whole system is going to shut down. The only thing that's going to be still operational is whatever the powers of the state manage to keep floating. So certain infrastructures and certain businesses, they're going to nationalize and keep them running through the power of the state. Otherwise, everything else is going to be shut down. The only things that's going to be open is your FEMA camps, your chipping stations, your rationing stations, your military bases, things which are nationalized. The only ones that are going to be working is your civilian work camps that are working for the state. Otherwise, that's going to be done away with, man. How the hell are you going to go? You say you work in a retail store. You really think you're going to be going into work when no one ain't got no money anyway in their bank account to come and buy anything because all the accounts are empty, and that's what's coming. Man, the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And you can liken that to men like V and London Paul. They're looking out the window. That's called a forecast. If you wake up in the morning, you look out your window and you see some damn near black ass clouds, lightning and all kind of shit in the background on the horizon. Your ass would be like, oh shit, man, there's a storm coming this way. You know, like in America, because not so much in England. In America, you get them super thunderstorms, man, on the horizon. I don't know if I could get an image for you, man. Yeah, you look out your window and you see some shit like this, man. You see some shit like this. When you look out your window, oh shit, you're gonna be like, oh man, You know, but the average person, they're blind. So when they look out the window, they still seeing a sunny day. They're the guys who are actually looking at it, they're like the guerrilla economists to a certain extent. They're looking out the windows and they're saying, oh shit, this future's bleak. There's some hell about to break loose out here. And the prophets, we're telling you before it was even seen on the horizon, because the scriptures is the ultimate view into the future. We're so close to the thing now that you got guys who ain't even spiritual that can see it, because it's there in the numbers, man. The numbers don't lie. Remember, one guy said that on Russia Today. He was on not Russia Today. He was on Crosstalk, and he was from Japan, and he worked for some statistical analysis firm, business firm that they're one of them firms which they come in and they advise businesses, because they study statistics, they study trends. And he was on there with 3 guys from America from different areas of the economy, and all 3 of them guys were trying to basically uplift America. And the guy from Japan was like, look, man, all this stuff that you guys are talking about is all political rhetoric. What I'm talking about is the numbers, and the numbers don't lie, man. America's finished. All right, the numbers don't lie, man. All right, when you calculate them properly, you know. Let's jump back to this real quick. It says here, those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, because ain't nobody gonna be going into work. When the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And that, bro, the quality of the music's going down, but ultimately, the scripture tell you, look, man, right now people are still singing and dancing, having concerts. Look, man, what's that? Isaiah 24. The day's coming where you ain't gonna be listening to the radio in your bedroom or dancing around doing karaoke, man. You ain't gonna want to hear no songs. You ain't gonna want to go to no show. There ain't gonna be no show. Ain't nobody gonna be concerned with Katy Perry and Beyonce Knowles' latest hit, man. That's for now. You can enjoy music right now. The time that's coming, oh boy. Yeah. Let's get this. Isaiah 24:7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. You ain't going to be able to drink yourself into a stupor and be all happy and merry and running up and down the streets of London. Hey, who are ya? Who are ya? And all that crap. You ain't even going to be on that vibe. You ain't going to be on. No amount of liquor is going to take you out of that distraught, deadly serious vibe that you're going to be in that day. All right. The mirth of tabrets cease. You know, your MTV and all that crap. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth. The noise of them that rejoice endeth. People going out to these clubs and, you know what I'm talking about. That's all going to be done away with, man, when that time comes. The whole entertainment industry is going to become null and void. The Rock is going to be out of a job. Ain't nobody going to want to hear no fucking jokes. Dave Chappelle, ain't nobody want to hear Dave Chappelle in that day. They're trying to eat. They're trying to live. It's going to be serious, man. You think in Syria, when them bombs are dropping over there in the villages, you could come around with some fucking Michael Jackson CD and put it on and start doing the moonwalk? Huh. They shall not drink wine with a song. So that's part of the daughters of music being brought low, man. Music is for the good times. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. You want me drinking that hard liquor? You get a bottle, trying to sort it, and it ain't working, man. Sometimes you get that you so fucked up in the spirit, you drinking and you still feel fucked up. You trying to get happy, drink it ain't even working. You know? The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened, and the mirth of the land is gone. Hey, oh man. You heard. So that's ultimately is going into that. The daughters of music in that day, they're gonna be brought low. Ain't nobody gonna want to hear them. You're in the middle of starvation and some bitches up there singing, talking about I kissed a girl and I like it. Bitch, shut up. Ain't nobody trying to hear you. Alright, so let me jump back over here, man. Let me hit the comment board, see. Yeah, when the men of the Lord gonna shine, man. They ain't gonna have nothing spiritual. Hey, that's a beautiful thing. We might have to get into that. Let me jump back into Mr. V, man. And his boy London Paul.
Does it exist? Well, I've seen no evidence of it. And this is becoming a huge problem. Because then I get people saying to me, and I'm sure you've had people who say, well, hang on, this doesn't stack up with what everyone else is saying. But the problem is they're just being deceived. There's no reality to this idea. The US is in a huge mess, and the only way it's going to get out of the mess is by the wrecking ball destroying the cabal. In the process, it's going to cause huge problems. But you can't rebuild a nation that's that contaminated from top to bottom.
You heard what he said. The wrecking ball. The wrecking ball. That's what's coming. The wrecking ball. You got a lot of people, no, it's just going to be this is going to be a little recession or something, and then we'll come out the other end. It's going to be a wrecking ball. Death, destruction, chaos. Fire and blood. Alright? You people talking about you want to make America great again. And you believe this idiot. How, Sway? Look at the numbers. Look at the debt. Oh, he said he was going to pump $1 trillion into America's infrastructure. They just did the research. Where was it? Where have I got it here? Hold on, let me see if I still got it up. Alright, they just did the research on how much America would have to spend by 2025, man. They saying they gotta spend 4.5 trillion on infrastructure alone. And you know how Esau is. If he says it's 4.5 trillion, by the time it's all said and done, it would have to probably be about 15 trillion. Through. Oh yeah, Trump, he's such a businessman. He's like the greatest businessman in the world. Man, Superman couldn't save America, man. Dr. Manhattan couldn't save America, man. Oh, okay, let's go, champ. Hey, Shalom, man. Yabashim Shabakta. Yeah. Yeah, Khan, let me get this speaker hooked up, and then you got the floor. Yeah, Ark, you want now? Go ahead.
Hey, Shalom, Akim. Yabashimel Shabakatham. Shalom to you, brother. Wakari Form. Once again, another beautiful topic. All praise and glory be to Yabashim Yahushua. I know you we just now getting up over here in the States. I'm getting ready for work, but you making such a good point. I wanted to highlight the binding shall cease. Now, first off, I want to talk about, back in 2008 when you had the first kind of global financial collapse, which they call it a collapse. But anyway, when that happened, what caused the major part of it happening is these banks underneath the central banks not being able to receive credits. Even these companies, which are basically ran like corporations, their credit ratings were downgraded by the major basically credit rating systems. One of those being Moody's, then you have the Standard & Poor's, the S&P, and then you have the Fitch Corporation that basically tells all the global investors, this place is a good place to give money. That place is a good place to give money. And if they downgrade you from what's called a AAA rating down to like an A rating or a triple B rating, then you ain't getting no money. The grinding is going to cease in your country, man. The corporations that move food, move product, move all the things that you need as far as electricity, as far as water, as far as food, as far as the essential things that you need to eat. That it takes money for these companies to get that to you. Okay? And if these companies don't have money, if TE Electric ain't getting the money that they need because their credit lines have been cut off, well, guess what? Your electricity at your crib is gonna go off. You know what I'm saying? And so one thing that the guerrilla economist and several other people like to talk about is how the real economy and the stock market are two different things. When you're looking at the real economy, and for the brothers that like to watch X22 report, if you guys don't watch X22 report, yeah, he speaks a lot of bullshit, but the raw numbers that he gives you is on point. Every day he gives you a financial analysis of the real economy. He goes through basically wage earnings versus interest, like meaning, look, you making $15 an hour for 15 years, and the interest rates and inflation is making prices go up over 15 years. Your $15 an hour that you've been making ain't the same as it used to be. And basically, wages have not increased globally compared to inflation at all. All right, that's another sign of the grinding ceasing. Retail. America is the number one consumer in the world. We buy shit from everybody. Retail globally is down. Like, stores is closing. They're not hiring people. They having to reduce the price of some of the things that they sell. Car sales, down. Housing, down. That means they ain't buying more wood, more concrete, more of this, more of that. All that's down globally. Everything globally is slowing down, which is making China, India, and all of these resource-rich, manufacturing-rich nations have to decrease their currency. Down. Everything is down. But meanwhile, the stock market is skyrocketing. How is this? Manipulation. You know what I'm saying? The big guys being able to buy up certain stocks and sell them off in the market on billions of dollars worth of rates can make an illusion of everything going on fine. That's how you get a thief in the night here in America. You see what I'm saying? So the grinding is ceasing right now, man. The grinding is ceasing right now. But what's going to happen is once these credit ratings drop, you're going to have this shit. It can stop overnight if the Moody's just makes a declaration that, okay, these Fortune 500 companies have been downgraded due to certain stresses in the derivatives bubble or whatever they want to say. You see what I'm saying? So I want to just read this real quick. This is on Wikipedia on Moody's Investor Service. And you brothers should look this up. It's just a little interesting information. All right, so it's called Moody's Investor Service. It says, often referred to as Moody's, is the bond credit rating business of Moody's Corporation, representing the company's traditional line of business and its historical name. Moody's Investor Service provides international financial research on bonds issued by commercial and government entities. Okay? All right, so these bonds give the commercial and government entities the money they need to do what they need to do. Okay? It says Moody's, along with Standard & Poor's and Fitch Group, is considered one of the big three credit rating agencies. Okay, it talks about how it was founded in 1909, how it's headquartered in New York City, financial center. It says the company ranks the credit worthiness of borrowers using a standardized rating scale which measures expected investor loss in the event of default. Moody's Investor Service rates debt securities in several bond market segments. These include government, municipal, and corporate bonds. Managed investments such as money market funds and fixed income funds, financial institutions including banks and non-bank finance companies, and asset classes and structured finance. So you see, they have the power to tell you the credit worthiness of banks, non-banks, corporations, government agencies, municipalities, like I was telling you. They have the ability to throw off the whole economy. So it's all about who runs this. Who runs Moody's? And you better bet your bottom dollar that top elite of Esau or the people who run Moody's and who have the power to say, you're worthy, you're not worthy, you're good, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? At any moment, they can just drop the hat on this thing and go ahead and switch it over into this new digital market-based economy that they are basically gathering all the infrastructure for today. We see right now how Amazon just bought up they just bought up Whole Foods. You see how they're talking about creating these smart cities where everything is just straight digital. You know, they have the infrastructure prepared for the mark of the beast system. All they need is the justification. With all the turmoil that's going on in the Middle East, over in Syria, right down the Euphrates as the scriptures prescribe, everything is being prepared, man. Everything is being prepared, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, man. So I want, just to, land back on what you got going on the grind shall cease. You brothers look up the Moody's credit rating. Type it in, man. You'll find a whole bunch of articles on how influential they were in the 2008 collapse. They were the ones who downgraded these guys and made a lot of these guys have to default. Even certain nations like Italy, the pigs nations, all that happened because they were downgraded on their credit rating. Okay? And it forced them into new loans. They had to take these new loans in order to get their credit rating back up. Okay? So I just wanted to add that in there, big homie. You going in, brother. You going in. Keep going, brother.
Hey, Khan. Hey, throw it up, man. Hey, throw it up for that, man. Yabashim Shabrakatah.
Hey, Yabashim Shabrakatah. Shalom.
Shalom, man. Yeah. That's what it's about, baby. Let me just get this speaker hooked back up. Yeah. Hey, it's funny the brother mentioned Amazon because like we always discuss, certain of these corporations, man, they're juiced in with the New World Order, man. They're there to set up the New World Order infrastructure, and ultimately they will survive as they learn to serve. They're gonna be nationalized straight away in the event of a collapse. Amazon and the whole infrastructure Amazon has built will be nationalized. Walmart. There's certain companies which the elites have pegged that these companies are gonna form part of the New World Order infrastructure. And then you have companies that won't, and they'll when they close, they'll never be opened again. That's just how it is. That's why you see Amazon and these different tech companies. The top three, I believe, you got I believe it's Amazon. There's another one. They're just taking over everything. Yeah, of course. They're building up that infrastructure, man. And we might have to get into hey brother, we might have to get into them smart cities, man. Because if you watch the show and the whole thing about them using cars now for terrorism is going to lead into smart cars. Driverless cars, man. So it's all there, which everything leads into that mark of the beast. I'm trying to read the rest of the story and it's not letting me do it because I believe it mentions the other tech companies, which they're all juiced in. Like I said, they're all juiced in. They're all part of building that New World Order infrastructure. I shouldn't have to do all that. See if I can get it. If not, we're just gonna. But that's a spirit because I actually had this on the list. Let me see if the sound is back on.
The bottom.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so was I reading the scripture? No. Okay, let's jump back into what these cats are saying here.
Where everything financially is just an illusion, a complete lie. It's fraud and everything else. And I'm not just picking on the US; it's the same across Western Europe.
Yeah, so like I said, we might be focusing here on America, but it's not just America. It's the same thing applies here in Britain, France. They've set this same thing up everywhere, man, globally.
And beyond, yes, there are huge problems, but there needs to be a realization of people that there isn't some magic solution to this. And yet I repeatedly get people imagining that it is and coming out with all manner of ideas that somehow there's going to be this magic solution to resolve the problem. It's the cabal. You can't just pacify them and tell them to go away and hope that they'll just pack up, and disappear into the night, and because they've got too much invested in this madness. I mean, as much as they're losing, and they have lost effectively, even though there's many battles still to fight.
Yeah, and let me say this: you got Israelites that are still invested in this madness. You got Israelites out there that are invested in this man's economy. That's why you hear Nate talking about economics. Nigga, you don't know shit about economics, man. Stick to making false arrests. Alright? Johanna talking about economics. All these guys are talking about what the hell do you know about economics, man? Your whole economic premise is based upon the so-called white man's economy. The hell are you talking about economics, man? We ain't here for that, man. This man is gonna implode the system. You talking about you want to build shopping malls and supermarkets and all this and that, man. You got Israelites who are invested in this man's madness, man. The Lord, for the spirit and power, man, of the Lord, this whole system is gonna be dissolved completely, including the elites, and we're gonna have our own, man. We're gonna have our own system where we own the land. We're going to have industries where we own those industries and we set the legislations and all that, man. We're going to have our own economy, man. When the Lord sets us up, man. That's when we're going to be fully invested. Stakeholders, shareholders, man. Right now, we don't have a stake in this man's society, man. Well, you got Israelites. Slaki, I got to take this. Hello? Right, Right. Right. Okay, that's fine. I'll make sure that I'll be there then. I'll have a word with her. I'll probably be able to get there within the next hour. Alright, cheers. Bye. Oh boy, Salaki Alkim, I had to take that one. Boy, Satan. Hey, so man, is what it is, man. So let me clip this back in, man.
They're not going to just give up because they've got everything invested in it, and yet somehow people think there's a magic solution, and in just 15 minutes of highlighting a few points, picking on a state, picking on a big organisation, and generally problems in the infrastructure. There is no simple solution. It's going to be a very hard few years until we get through the other side, and there, once the US is rid of the cabal and other Western nations, they've got an opportunity then to rebuild a nation on a level playing field. But it's like the idea everyone thinks, well, just cancel all the debt, but there are repercussions for cancelling all the debt. You can't just say, well, let's cancel it, and it doesn't matter, because how do you iron that problem out? And yes, people can say debt's fraudulent, and people take out loans and the debt's fraudulent, but in the end, it's rather like saying, let's just take a sledgehammer to the oil industry. As I've said before, you can't do it. There are repercussions. You're going to put a lot of people out of jobs. You're going to bankrupt people. And in the process, you're going to hurt the little guy way more by just taking this wrecking ball to the whole process. But unfortunately, ultimately, to a large extent, the wrecking ball is going to affect people because it's the only way to rid the insanity. And as much as Trump is trying to take the wrecking ball, you can see, and I think there's a point we'll talk about the sanctions in a minute that have been applied to Russia, and I'll go into some detail because there's a lot of interesting points with respect to that. But there is a lot of effort being tried to make, but when you've got the Senate and the Congress basically still largely in the back pocket of the cabal, they're going to thwart every decision they possibly can because it's in their interest to keep the insane gravy train going as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right about that, Paul. It is about keeping the gravy train rolling.
It is, but there's gonna come a point where the elites don't want the gravy train to roll no more. They want to collapse the society because the society, it needs to collapse in order for them to get the people into the position that they want to get them into that new world order, man. They gonna bring everyone to their knees. All right, they gonna let that wrecking ball fly. All right, this is what's gonna happen. Now I wanted to did I have because I want to focus in on what most people are concerned with, which is the amount of money in their bank account. This is liquidity, okay? All right. I mean, some people do so-called own a house, which you really don't own the house. You know, it's we could get into that all day long. You know, you don't have the allodial title for your house. You know, it's whatever. But let's just put it this way: if you need food and you don't grow food yourself, and all you have is your house, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna give someone your whole house for a loaf of bread? You want to exchange something of smaller worth. That's where your money comes into it. Before I get into that, I just want to let me get this comment that the brother Ariala made, pursuant to what he mentioned earlier. It says there are two superpowers in the world today, in my opinion. There's the United States and there's Moody's bond rating service. The United States can destroy you by dropping bombs, and Moody's can destroy you by downgrading your bonds. And believe me, it's not clear sometimes who's more powerful. February 13th, 1996 interview with Jim Lehrer. So hey, that just backs up what the brother Ariala was bringing out. Okay, straight up. So yeah, jumping back over here, the cash. This is what most people pride themselves in. How much of this stuff do you have readily available to you? Which is usually kept in something called a bank account. Some people still keep it in a jar. Some people hide it under the bed. Some people have got bags of it buried in the garden, man, if you're a drug dealer or whatever. But this is what people deal with. Whether you're poor, whether you're rich, your ability to maneuver through the society is usually based upon how much of this you can pull out your pocket or tap with a card at any one time. All right, you might have a car or certain assets which are worth money, but you can't really use those things on a day-to-day. They're not liquid. They're not liquid. All right. So what you gotta understand is this: cash deposits are protected. So supposedly your cash deposits you have in the bank are protected. What about investments? Okay. So what used to be the case was that, have I got this article ready? I hope I got the article ready. I think I clicked on the wrong link. Salakia. Trying to find the original link that I had up. Because I want to show you the information. But for some reason, it's not coming up with the information that it had before. Because what basically the point I want to show you is your money in the bank is no longer protected in any way, shape, or form. If there is a complete collapse of the banking system and all these banks go belly up, basically whatever money you have in that bank is gone forever. All right. Now they do have these little programs they claim which is supposed to protect your money, but that's only based upon one bank imploding, and they only protect your money up to a certain amount. All right. So in the UK and in America, it's pretty much the same. But if there was a systemic failure across the banking industry, there is no protection. Okay, your money is gone. And that's what's going to happen. There's going to come a day when systemically all these major banks are going to declare that they're gone, they're no longer solvent. And that's what I want it to be. Cash deposits are now considered investments. Yeah. This is what came out after the whole Greece thing. Alright, so basically what you're going to find out is that they're setting up a situation that they're going to collapse their own banks, and they're going to leave everyone, which is the majority of people who rely on their money in the bank, without anything. I don't care if you're Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather keeps his money in the bank. I don't care who you are. Who do you know that doesn't keep their money in the bank? Well, what's going to happen when the bank that they have their money in becomes insolvent and goes belly up, and their deposits are consumed? Now, let me read this article here. It says, bank deposits no longer be considered money but paper investments. What does this mean? Kenneth Shortigan Jr. explains. This weekend, the G20 nations will convene in Brisbane, Australia, to conclude a week of Asian festivities that began in Beijing for the developed countries and major economies. And on Sunday, the biggest deal of the week will be made as the G20 will formally announce new banking rules that are expected to send shockwaves to anyone holding a check-in, savings, or money market account in a financial institution. On November the 16th, the G20 will implement a new policy that makes bank deposits on par with paper investments, subjecting account holders to declines that one might experience from holding a stock or other security when the next financial banking crisis occurs. Additionally, all member nations of the G20 will immediately submit and pass legislation that will fulfill this program, creating a new paradigm where banks no longer recognize your deposits as money but as liabilities. So basically, your money in the bank is now a liability. So when that bank goes bankrupt on purpose, because they've set that up to happen, it's going to take all of your money with it. All of it. Whatever you had in there, it's going to be gone. And securitized capital owned and controlled by the bank or constitution. In essence, the Cyprus template of 2011 will be fully implemented in every major economy and place. Bank depositors as the primary instrument of the next bailouts when the next crisis occurs, which it will occur because they're going to make it happen. For most Americans with savings or checking accounts in federally insured banks, normally FDIC rules on deposit insurance are still in play. But anyone with over $250,000 in any one account or held offshore will have their money automatically subject to bankruptcy disbursements from the courts based on a much lower rank of priority and a much lower percentage of return. This also includes business accounts, money market accounts, and any depository investments such as a certificate of deposit. After Sunday at the G20 meeting, the risk of holding any cash in a bank or financial institution will have to be weighed as heavily as with as much determination of risk as if you were holding a stock or municipal bond. Because most people don't worry about, well, their bank imploding and not being able to get any money out, which could decline in an instant should the financial environment bring a crisis even remotely similar to that of 2008. And you got to understand that they're going to bring about a crisis which is going to domino effect all these banks. They're all gonna just, cause they're all connected to a giant debt bubble, man. I'm sure the brother Ariella could comment on that. The whole derivatives bubble, man. It's all set up. So that's gonna usher in. Imagine this: you wake up one day and no one has money in the bank. There's no money no more. There's nothing. Yesterday you had 100,000 in your bank. Today is zero. Yesterday you had 1 million in your bank. Today it's 0. Yesterday you had 10 million in your bank. Today it's 0. Can you imagine the chaos that will cause? The madness that will presume. And that's what's coming. That is what's coming. That's what they're planning. Because the solution to that chaos is going to be the mark of the beast. If you want services, if you want goods, you're now going to have to go to the government. And in order to receive it, you're going to have that mark of the beast, which they'll set up using the banking infrastructure which already exists. All right? Because the infrastructure will still be there. There'll just be no money there. Right? They'll nationalize these banks and they'll use that structure in their new system. All right? Let me show you the scripture, Revelations 13. Oops. Can't believe it. Hey man, people are going to be bugging out when that happens. That's the only thing keeping a lot of these people sane, because they could tap out a quick £10 out of their account. Buy some condoms and some liquor. This is Revelations 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, because small and great. Small represents your average person. Great represents your celebrity. What's the difference between a celebrity and me? What's the difference between me and Kanye? There is no difference. We both go into one of these. We both have one of these. Okay, we have a personal banking account. It could be with Barclays. It could be with Bank of America. It could be with NatWest, Lloyd's Bank, HSBC. What's the difference? Is they have to deal with the same banking system. Trust me, I know. I used to know a guy who used to work in a bank, and they used to deal with the accounts. They could search people's names, and they'd be pulling up the accounts of different celebrities, and they got their money in a bank account, same as everybody else. So when that system collapses, they're going to be in the same boat as everybody else. Floyd Mayweather, where's Floyd Mayweather got all of his money? He's got all his money in the stock market because Ellaby, is so smart. He's got his money in Goldman Sachs. That's going to disappear. Any money these people have in the stock market is going to totally disappear out the window. Goodbye. Right? And any businesses worth anything going to be nationalized anyway. And you're not going to be compensated. So don't worry about that. Okay, it's going to be confiscated under emergency powers, which they don't need to compensate you in that event. All right, you name me a celebrity that doesn't keep their money in a personal bank. All right, let's get a list of banks. There's many of them, but they're all Abbey, American Express, Barclays, Citigroup, Lloyd's, TSB, Bank of Ireland. The list goes on of the list of different banking. Every single person, all right, is dealing with 1 or 2 or 3 of these banks. Whether they're a celebrity, whether they're a normal average Joe. Let's move on. All right. Small or great, rich and poor. Whether you got $10 to your name, £10 to your name, or whether you got $10 million, $10 million to your name, you're going to have it in one of these banks. Barclays account. All right. Tell me I'm lying. So once they collapse that, everyone is at their mercy. Free or bond, whether you're a person that's outside on the road, even prisoners have bank accounts. Free and bond. To receive a mark, which everyone has a bank account now. To do anything, to have a job, everything, you have to have a bank account, man, or a building a society, okay? To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, because once they collapse the society and then they take control of the digital infrastructure to what? Meter out resources. How the hell are you going to get access to resources if not through them? You're going to have to take that mark so they could identify you, so you can receive your rations. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So in order to them to bring in the system and to pressure the people to take that system, they have to bring the chaos. And part of that chaos is going to be the emptying of your bank account. And it's going to cause a lot of people going to get upset. There's going to be riots over it. And guess what? If you riot over it and you're disappointed with the outcome, you're going to be deemed a terrorist and you're going to be shot on sight. This is it's coming. It's coming, man. And like I said, it's going to form a big part of Daniel's 12:1 and Revelations the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, because it's the elites that are going to pull the plug, that are going to pull the trigger to bring in their new system. And once that system collapses, as I always show, they have the legislations ready. All these different countries, beginning with America, have the legislations ready to take control. All right? Which Trump ain't done away with these executive orders, okay? When that economy collapses and no one ain't got no money and goods are not flowing, then the government will step in an emergency and they will take control of everything. All of the assets, all of the resources, because they have to get control of the chaos. So they're going to seize all communications media in the United States. That means both the alternative media and the mainstream media are going to become under the control of the state. Say goodbye. There will be no fake news then, apparently, because the state will control everything. Okay? That's what people don't get. And Trump knows about this. Trump knows about these plans. The seizure of all electric power, fuel, and minerals, public and private. Now, why are they going to have to do that? Because like the brother said, those companies are going to be finished. So in order to get the electric back up and meter out the electric to people, they're going to have to take control of the infrastructure. But then how do you decide who receives and who don't receive? How do you control that? Through the mark of the beast. Seizure of all electric power, fuels, and minerals, public and private. It's going to be the end of private property. So the collapse is part of their plans. Seizure of all transportation, including personal cars, trucks, or vehicles. So all them cars Mayweather got, the government can just come and take that. Look, we need that. We're taking it. And they don't have to compensate of any kind, and total control of the highways, seaports, and waterways. Seizure of all American people for workforces, because the workforce is going to break down. So guess what? They need to nationalize that to get things back up and running again. Slavery. Seizure of all American people for workforces under federal supervision, including the splitting of families if the government finds it necessary. Executive Order 11000. Seizure of all health, education, and welfare facilities, which everyone's going to have to be on welfare. Because the state has all the resources, you ain't got no money, so you're going to be getting what you're given. Everyone's going to be on food stamps, which is going to be in that mark. Seizure of all health, education, and welfare facilities, public and private. Again, the end of all private property. Everything's going to be owned by the state. And who owns the state? The elite. And so it's either you're the owners or you're nobody. Alright? Empowered the Postmaster General to register all men, women, and children in U.S. Seizure of all airports and aircraft. seizure of all housing and finance authorities to establish forced relocation designated areas to be abandoned as unsafe. Now, what happened in London recently should ring a bell. And they have these, look, man, like I've been telling you, man, these same powers and laws exist in the UK, in France, in Germany, in Belgium, worldwide. These things are built into the system. All they need is the chaos. And then they can birth this system that they actually want, which is a system of complete control. Totalitarianism. And the majority of Israelites are going to die in the chaos, man. Seizure of all railroads, inland waterways, storage facilities, public and private. And there's more than that. There's more than this list. There's a longer list, man. They could seize your food. Alright? So all these people that trust in money and trust in all this stuff, man, they're going to be confounding. And like the brother Yeshua said earlier, the only thing that you're going to be able to stand on in that day is if Yahweh Sham Yahweh Shai is with you, is your faith. Is those treasures which you stored in heaven. The workings of your faith, man. You got guys worried about GMS. They worried about GMS and whether we got jobs or not. As if to say a job and a salary is going to deliver you in that day. What you should be worried about is if you got something in your spiritual bank account. Because that's something that no economic collapse can take that away. Our foundation needs to be spiritual. What the hell is going on? Alright, let me get that. Let me hit the comment board. Matthew 6:19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth. And like I said, the biggest treasure these people are proud of is their bank account. Well, they're gonna find out the hard way. Where moth and rust do corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. And that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna steal, they're gonna consume all of the wealth of the people, the so-called wealth the people have, is all going to be consumed in this economic collapse, and everything is going to be given into the hands of the state and ultimately the elites which own the state. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, because your works of faith are secure and they don't depreciate up there in the heaven. They hold their value. Okay? Where thieves do not break through nor steal. No one can take that away from you, because it's with the Lord. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Like I said, a lot of these Israelites, their treasure is really in this world. Their treasure isn't with Yahweh Shai, man. The scripture says, man, Yahweh Shai is our life, man. Okay? Colossians 3:4. When Yahweh Shai, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. So ultimately, Yahweh Shai has everything that we gonna get with him. When he comes, that's when we gonna get everything that's for us. Everything that's for us, the peace, the glory, the money, the women, whatever it is, the blessings that are for us are with Yahweh Shai. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. For which things' sake the wrath of God cometh on the children of disobedience. Because all these people who are being disobedient to the gospel of Yahweh Shai, that's because they're given unto the flesh. They're given unto this world. And you can see that a lot of these Israelite groups, man, they're really of the flesh, of the carnality, man. That's why they're making songs about being kings in the building when you're a slave in America. That's why you glorifying yourself and you're all about winning in this world, man. We're losing in this world so that we may win in the next. Let me get it. Yeah, this is a Zephaniah 1:18. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. Yeah, like when America's destroyed, man. Ain't no money or no gold or nothing like that's going to save you from that. From the judgment. In that chaos, money ain't going to save you from getting your head bashed in. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Alright? See if we got anything else. Yeah, it says 200,000 high-end business owners. It's like 10K for peons. Hey, and if it's a systemic collapse, nobody ain't getting nothing, man. Or, like the brother said, all will be wiped out. Alright? So, like I said, man, with that complete economic collapse, man, that's going to bring in great tribulation. Because can you imagine bank accounts all being empty, the chaos that will ensue? The chaos that will ensue, the killings, the murderings, the riots, the starvation. Because even when the government try and reestablish some form of order, do you really think they're going to be able to meter out rations to everyone? You're going to have people that want to take the chip. They're not going to be able to take the chip. They might be in an area that's just totally unimaginable. They can't get there. Where they know they're chipping people, they want to go there and get the chip. They could die before they get there, man. That's how serious this is going to be. There's going to be some real no man's lands out there. You know, and you want to know about that, read 2 Esdras the 15th chapter, read 2 Esdras the 16th chapter, man. There's going to be death, man. And like I said, economic collapse plays its role. World War III is going to play its role. Alright? Which that'll be the next live stream, Lord will, I can get done today, man. Because that's heating up. All these things are going to come like a perfect storm, man. And if you ain't got the Lord with you, man, you're going to be caught up, man. If your name ain't written in the book of life, man. So it's time to repent, man. Time to invest in Yahweh Shai, man. And you're going to find out that faith is the #1 commodity in this universe. Faith. That's the #1 commodity. There is no commodity which can outweigh the value of faith, man. Because a little tiny little speck of faith goes a long way. It's the most valuable commodity by weight. A little bit of faith goes a long way, baby. And people are going to find that out, man. They're going to find out all this time people were putting their faith in fame, or putting stock in fame, putting stock in money and gold and silver and all these tangible things. And in the end, it's going to be found out that the most important thing, the most important commodity that you should have possessed was faith in Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, man. And then it's the truth of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, which you will receive through faith. That's the most important commodity you could possibly ever possess. And that's the only thing that's going to deliver you, man. And the Lord is going to prove that, because no one is going to be delivered by any other thing. There ain't going to be one Israelite that's going to be delivered unless they have faith and they have this truth, this gospel which is in Yahweh Shai. Yeah, the best penny stock. Alright? And faith is a gift that you can only get from the Heavenly Father. You can't get it from the white man, okay? I'll tell you that straight up. So fuck the so-called white man, okay? Alright? Let me get one more scripture that comes to mind, and then I'll let you brothers go, man. I'll be keeping you ranting on and on. Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Yeah, this gospel is a word of patience, man, because you have to be patient with this word. You don't just get the truth and then it manifests itself the next day you in the kingdom. You got to be patient with it. You know, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, because in that day, many, you're going to be tempted to find a way out, man, of this hell. Oh, if I take the chip, at least I can get a piece of bread. You know? A lot of people are going to be looking at the state as God, man. A lot of people gonna be, or you might be tempted to go full carnal and just totally rely on your gun. You know, kill your brother, kill your mother. You know, look, man, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. The whole of Israel is going to be tried as to who is faithful. Who's going to look to Yahushua? Who's going to call on Yahushua in that day? Or you going to give up on Yahushua? You going to try and do your own thing? Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Because this knowledge is a crown, man. You just can't see it. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, which is Israel. And that's the men. The men, the elect. The men are supposed to be the pillars, man. Men are supposed to be the strength and the foundation of a nation. Right now, we got a nation of punks. Every time something happens in you so-called Negroes or Hispanics and Native American communities, it's always women that have to go and defend it. Just like when this fire thing happened down here in London, who did you see out there doing the most of the talking? A bunch of women. Where are all the men? You all right talking when it's them music videos, when you spitting and talking about shanking and killing, but when you gotta stand up and be heard, mama, you do it, mama. I don't want to go on camera. You niggas, man, need to learn to stand up and be men, man. It's not for the woman to lead or to bear the strain or the burden of the nation. It's for the men. All right, so the men are pillars, man, strong. All right, women they don't made of the proper material to be pillars, man. Okay, that's just the facts. And he shall go no more out, and that's a beautiful thing. The beautiful thing about this truth is the Lord is giving us everlasting life, man. We're gonna live forever, and more importantly, we're gonna be righteous, and we're never gonna turn from the Lord, man. We ain't never gonna turn to the left or to the right or go backward. We're gonna be going forward in a straight line, man. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a blessing that the Lord don't ever take his fear away from our hearts, man. That we just do righteousness and we stand by him and under him for the rest of eternity, man, serving him in righteousness. That's why our kingdom is going to be forever. Because we're constantly going to be at peace with our power. We're going to be obedient unto him. And that's a beautiful thing. We shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, which is Jerusalem. So that's a cut to these Muslims talking about Mecca. That's a cut to these dumbass Rastafarians talking about Ethiopia. You fucking clowns. All right? Which cometh down out of heaven from my God. And who's the Jerusalem that's going to be coming down from heaven? The elect. Because Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. The Jerusalem that's going to be coming down out of the heavens is the elect of Israel that are going to be coming back down out of the chariots after America is destroyed to rule and subdue the earth with the Lord. Okay? And I will write upon him my new name, which is a new, refreshed name. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches, man. And who are the churches? The churches were the believers, man. The Israelites that believed in the Messiah, man. Not these denominations that they got out there now talking about they're Pentecostal and all that. That ain't the church, man. The church is the congregation of the believers in the true gospel of Yahushua, which is being taught here at Great Millstone, man. And if you ain't teaching the gospel that we're teaching here at Great Millstone, I don't give a damn if you know you're an Israelite or not. You have a perverted gospel, and it just ain't good enough, man. And I have to tell you that because your life is at stake. If you're in IUIC, you in ICPK, that's a perverted, that's a perverted gospel. And that ain't good enough. The Lord's not dealing with perversion. The Lord ain't dealing with perversion. The Lord ain't dealing with almost right. Alright? The Lord has one gospel, man, which is what we teach here at Great Millstone. Alright? Now you got guys waking up that they're Israelites, but you following RUIC. You ain't, okay, you're an Israelite, fair enough. But you ain't received the gospel, so you're still lost. Because knowing you're an Israelite don't mean you ain't lost, man. Because you ain't got Yahushua. This is Galatians 1. Hey, back in Judea, they were lost. The ones that didn't receive the gospel in Judea, they all knew they were Israelites. They were still lost. Here, a lot of you niggas trying to build Judea all over again. The Lord's going to destroy that, man. The Lord was never dealing with Judea. Judea was off, man. Judea was a Roman province, man. We don't want no damn Judea. We want the nation of Israel established, man. We don't want to be no Roman province with fringes on. Galatians 1 and 7. Let me start from verse 6. I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Hamashiach unto another gospel, which is not another, because they're bringing out the scriptures, okay? But there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Yahushua. When you're teaching, you ain't got to call on the name Yahushua. You perverted the gospel, man. When you're teaching that the mark of the beast isn't the RFID chip, guess what? You're perverting the gospel, man. And if you don't repent from that, you're gonna be destroyed, man. And I could go on and on about the long list of heresies you got these other Israelite groups out there teaching, man. You got to get right or you're going to be destroyed, man. It's that serious, man. That's what we got to tell you. We ain't saying it bragging and boasting like out of pride. It just is what it is, man. We want you to get it. All right? That's what we're here for. We're here to try and drag your ass out of the fire if the Lord will. Because you already in the fire. I don't need to put you in the fire. You're already condemned. All right. So anyway, let me finish off on this comment board and then I'll get out of here, man. Acts 2 and 21, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call in the name of the Lord shall be saved. Yeah. Matthew 5:48, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Yeah, and that's what we seek after, perfection, man. And the Lord promised us that, and the Lord is going to give us that perfection, man. Beginning with this gospel, man. Beginning with Yahushua. The gospel is Yahushua. Yahushua is perfect, man. So anything that we're teaching that ain't right, the Lord is going to purge that out, man. That's my faith. If we're teaching something that ain't right and ain't perfect, the Lord is going to correct that through the proper channels, man. That's why the Lord set up apostles and elders. Okay? The Lord is going to iron all that out, man. All right? Yeah, Proverbs 8:4, unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. You men have got to stand up, man. You got to stand up. It's time to stand up, man. All right? Ephesians 2:8, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Most High. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, glory with Yahushua through obedience, man. That's like my man Apocalypse says, there is no freedom from me. There is only freedom through me. And that's Yahushua. Really, there ain't no freedom from the Most High because we're still subject unto his judgments. But if you want a liberty, if you want the glorious liberty of the sons of God, it's through Yahushua. And the liberty is to serve, man. We're going to have the freedom to serve. Okay? To do what we are meant to do, to be as sons and serve the Lord, man, in righteousness. And then you get perks which come with that. But a lot of guys, they're more looking at the perks of the kingdom rather than the duty which comes with rulership. A lot of guys have got that spoiled brat Israelite mentality, man. Yeah, the women arc. Like, look, man, this thing is more than just having a bunch of women. You can have a bunch of women in this world. You want pussy, you can get pussy here, man. We're going to get righteous rulership, man. We're going to serve the Lord in order in this universe, man. That's the chief thing. That's the duty that you got to be meditating on, man. We have a duty to serve the Lord in righteousness, man. Then with that, you get the perks. The lemons, the limes, the mangoes, and all the good things which is on the side. But what's the first principle thing of being an Israelite, man? A lot of these guys coming into Israel, they don't understand that, man. They come into Israel because they hear they can have more than one wife. That's a perk. But what is it to be an Israelite, man? What do you have to uphold? What's your duty? What are you supposed to be doing, man? You're supposed to be ruling yourself with righteousness and then ruling the nations, man. Ordering this universe in righteousness, man. A lot of these Israelite groups don't give a damn about what's going on this planet, man. They just want to live good. They don't give a damn about all the pedophiles and all that, man. They don't want to bring judgment down. They don't want to do the work. They don't even want to teach the gospel, man. They don't even want to do videos, man. They want to, man, what the fuck you niggas, man? You spoiled brat Israelites, man. You want all the power, but none of the responsibility or the duty. Fuck you, man. But that's another lesson anyway. You know, that's another lesson. I'm sure me and the brother Ariella, I ain't gonna, you know, we're gonna let that spirit come out, you know, another day. Anyway, I could be here all day, man. Oh, let me read these last two scriptures, man. I must needs do it, and then I'm going to leave it there. This is Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay? Isaiah 13:2. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Okay? Yeah, we gotta go into that, man. I ain't, you know, we gotta go into that, man. I just had to mention that, man. A lot of these jakes, they just spoiled brat Israelites, man. Proud. You ain't supposed to be proud to be an Israelite. Oh, when you find out you're an Israelite, you're supposed to be humbled. Like, you mean I'm supposed to rule the universe? Damn, that means I ain't been doing what I'm meant to be doing. How do I do that? Nah, all you worried about is barbecuing chicken and getting some woman somewhere, man. Like, damn, nigga, come on, that's not what it's all about, man. All right, spoiled brat Joffrey type Israelites, man. All right, man. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I ain't gonna go on forever, man. All right. Hey, so with that, man, shalom to all you Arkham. You know, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You know, if you want to learn more about how your soul may be saved, you know, keep watching the videos. Great Millstone videos. The apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and we gonna give you, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, what you need to be made wise unto salvation, man. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.